take a look at the earphone jack problem on a mobile phone. So you have normally seen the phones that are showing that you have plugged in earphone, but meanwhile you haven't plugged in any earphone. So I will show you the cause of that problem. It's just a little problem. It's just caused by a little issue in the motherboard that can confuse you the whole day without knowing what to do. So I'm going to show you the circuit related to that problem. So I've opened any schematic diagram right here. I've opened a schematic diagram and I've opened the PCB layout right here. So the reason why I opened the PCB layout is for me to easily copy the number of the earphone jack, because most phones that have this earphone problem are phones that have an earphone jack. Phones nowadays don't have this problem, but phones that have earphone jacks, they are phones that always have this type of problem. So the first thing you have to do, go to the board view, copy the earphone jack. This is the earphone jack right here. Copy the number to easily search and see everything. Go back to the schematic diagram. Seems like I copied something else. Double tap, copy, come here and paste. Okay, so when you copy it, you can see that we have our earphone jack diagram right here. And in this earphone jack right here, you can see that we have one line from the PMU, which is 1.8 volt. This line, even though it's not been written right there, keep in mind that it's supposed to be 1.8 volt. So the reason why the phone will be showing that it's plugged in into that the earphone has been plugged in into the phone even though you haven't plugged in anything is because of the interruption line right here. So this interruption signal is a signal in which shows the phone that tells the CPU or the power manager IC that earphone have been plugged in inside the phone. And if there is any short or any water damage reaching this line to ground, you might see that type of problem. And if, in most cases, if the 1.8 volt is not reaching this line, it will cause that type of problem. It took me a lot of time to notice this problem right here, and it's really weak. It's really weak because I solved this problem in one phone, and the problem was that the N line right here, the INT line right here, which is the interrupt signal, was not having the 1.8 volt. As soon as I jump at the 1.8 volt to the line, it stopped, which means that if you are having this problem, you can jump at 1.8 volt. You can find the you don't have to just go on and jump except that you have seen that okay, there's an open circuit in the line and you can jump from here to there. You need to find the main power supply that sends in the voltage right here. You understand? And it's mostly caused by this resistor. This resistor is a 470 kilo ohm resistor right here. So you need to check the ground value of this right here. So if you check on the other side and it doesn't give, if you check on this side of this resistor and it doesn't give a reading, a high reading, it doesn't give a reading, then you will need to revolve the power manager IC. And if you get a reading and you don't get the reading on this other side, you will have to replace the resistor right here. And this other resistor right here can also be the cause of it. So this is a 47 kilo ohm resistor right here, and if you measure the ground, you are supposed to get the ground reading. You are supposed to get a resistance reading right here, because it connects with the line that is going to the PMU IC and it connects to this IC right here, which we will see which IC it's connected to. So this is the main interruption pin right here, interruption signal pin. which can be also called the detect signal pin. You understand? So you need to check the value in this line, which is in the first line of the clock right here. Let me see if I have a guideline. Okay, so let's see. Let's copy this resistor. So for you to test it, you will need to find this resistor. Okay, so you have to test this resistor right here. You need to make sure that the resistor is giving a ground reading in both sides, not like it's shorting to ground. It doesn't have to be shorting to ground. You understand? And the line right here needs to have, the line right there needs to have 1.5 volt. And if you don't get the 1.5 volt, we call the power manager IC. So let's see where this line is heading to. Let's double tap there. Oh, where was it again? Okay, you can see that this is the line here. Let's see which IC it's heading to. Okay, it's coming to this IC, which is a MediaTek component. So judging from this right here, this is the CPU right here. So it's U1001. So you just have to copy that, go to the PCB layout, going to search that IC. Okay, we have our identification icon right here. So it's coming directly to the CPU. The detect signal is coming to the CPU, which is very normal. So you need to have a 1.8 volt. Let me go back. Okay, you need to have a 1.8 volt in this line. If you don't get the 1.8 volt, make sure that you recall the power manager IC. And the CPU open circuit can also cause that. You understand? And you always have to make sure that you check the plug, the earphone jack, and make sure that there is no shorting inside. There are no water damage inside and all that stuff. You understand? So in this circuit, you can see that we have the jacks that are connected to different components, and the components are connected to ground, like these resistors right here. These resistors can easily cause, especially when they are shorting to ground. If these resistors are broken and high, because you can see that it's a high value resistor, a 470 kilo ohm resistor. If that high resistance is broken, the resistor will be shorting to ground, and that will cause that type of problem. So what you will have to do, you have to check these resistors. You have to check the resistance of these resistors, check the lines, and make sure that they are not shorting to ground. Let me just show you a quick guide on how you can do that. Copy the number of the resistor, and same goes to these other components right here. You need to make sure that none of these components are shorting to ground, and they are always around the jack. So as you can see, this is the resistor right here. It's a high value resistor, and one side is connected to the jack and one side is connected to the ground. So make sure that there is no direct connection to the ground right here. You understand? So you can see right here, you need to make sure that only one side of this component right here are